Hello everyone, my name is Precious and I am the blogger for the Single Maven. Today I want to focus on the Single Maven's bucket list. I was thinking today it would be great to do a blog about some of the things that a single person, a single Maven can do in the season of waiting for marriage or just anticipating marriage. So this is not an all-inclusive list by any means, but I do encourage you all to share your comments and feedback about things that you would like to see done in the season of singleness that you're in. And all of these things I have put together. I think I have about 12 I will share with you. But these are just ideas to get you thinking outside of the box. Because a lot of times I think when you're single, and especially if you've been single for a while, you kind of get boxed into thinking about marriage and family on a regular basis, or when will I get married? Then I'll start, X, Y, Z. But in the interim, you're not necessarily living your life. So I wanted to take some time to think about some of the things we can do in the season of singleness, and looking for some fun, interesting feedback from you all. So I encourage you to comment. The first thing that I have is travel. So I've had this conversation probably with a few people, and I encourage you to take a trip by yourself. This will allow you to rest and relax without waiting on someone. I think a lot of times we think about, if I were to do this by myself, how would I feel, or how will it look, or what will people think? To be honest with you, it doesn't really matter what people think. People are going to think something anyway, but I think you should enjoy yourself. I technically have done some trips by myself, and I really could not tell that I was, alone, so to speak. I think that I had enough activity and things planned, and some of them were impromptu where I really didn't have an agenda or a plan of action. I basically just, got a hotel room, Googled some things to see what might be available, and just went for it. So I think that if you look at potential adventure in somewhere that you've always wanted to go, and make it, drivable if you've never done that. So it can be within 2 to 3 hours, or I think my first trip was like 5 hours driving. So I encourage you to do it. I went to Savannah by myself. On my birthday, I went to Wrightsville Beach, which was great. Of course, it was in January, so it was kind of cold, but it was a good trip. That was the last minute plan. And then I'm going to Cape Cod I think in a few weeks. And that'll be in the summer. So that'll be great. All right. So second thing I have is make a major purchase. So I put this in. I don't think this is necessarily a mandate, but I think it's something that you can definitely think about doing, and don't wait for someone to purchase a home or a car or, anything major that you want to do. I think this will allow you to be empowered by the fact that you can still make decisions and live your life without the necessity of waiting for marriage. But I think that I do encourage you to make sure you've investigated all of your options. I understand what you're entering into. I purchased my home, I think when I was 27, and I had it for 9 years, which was probably a long time for some people, but I don't regret it. I think it was a good investment. And I think that at that time, it was necessary for me to do that because, I had been renting for a while. And I think that this was also a transition from graduating from law school. So I think that was kind of the next step for me to kind of invest in a place and look at putting roots down somewhere. But pray for discernment and move forward. But don't hold yourself back because you're waiting for someone. And that includes, selling your home as well. Next thing I have is be creative. So these are ideas that I have had and I've definitely done. But write a book, I'll talk about the book probably in another blog, but this is coming along, guys. I'm almost done. Start a blog, website, or business. So explore where you can leave your mark as creative as you can. So be a creative individual. Don't look at just your 9 to 5 or just what you do for work, or if you go to church and that's kind of it. This could be something you've always wanted to try. So if you always wanted to, start a blog or a website or just any type of business, explore those options and see how creative you can be about it. The fourth one I have is secure your identity. And this is something definitely I probably have talked about. It will be in the book. Clearly, it's a big topic. But look at who you are as a whole person. I think a lot of times when we look at ourselves, we look at specific aspects of, okay, your relationship status, or what your career looks like, or what role you play in your family or your community. But learn how you can be secure in the decisions that you make. And I also have here is understand that in securing your identity, you can shift. You may have a shift in your relationships or roles that you previously played. But I think this is the best time to learn all there is to know about you and who God created you to be. So if you're not secure in who you are at this point, why would you be even more secure with someone else? So I think that you should understand who you are, who you were created to be, and discover that. And I mean, for me, it's the ever evolving process. Number 5 I have is get educated. And I'm a huge advocate for education. Anybody that knows me knows I'm always taking a class, reading a book, or doing something. But I think if you have not done any of those things, you're waiting for someone to pursue a degree or take a class or learn a new language. Explore another country, learn all there is to learn about that country, because that could be part of number 1, which is travel. So get educated about things that you want to try or you are considering trying, but you haven't taken the time to just purchase a book about it or take online classes about a new topic. They have all of these, I think they call them mocks now, where they're free classes you can take from like top universities, and they're free. So look at joining a new meetup group in the area that you wouldn't necessarily normally try, just to meet new people, and also think about learning a new topic. Number 6 I have is dine alone. Now I'm going to be honest, this one I'm still working on. I do sometimes do this, but I need to probably do it more. But I think you should take yourself out to eat. Enjoy the fact that you're earning time to, just honor yourself, and that you don't have to have someone with you to do that. And don't worry about what other people think. I see people do this all the time. I think it's probably more common than what we know, and you might meet somebody. This is me thinking, right, hypothetically. No, but really, I see a lot of people that do dine alone. And I think that some things we think that are taboo, or what would I think about it, as a single, they're not as taboo. There are plenty of single people. I think statistics say that there are more single people than married people now. So, yeah. I think this will also allow you to become more secure in your identity, because you're not looking at the fact that you are dining alone as some type of stigma or something is wrong with you. But it could prove to be encouraging to someone else, because they see that you're able to put yourself out there and have a meal without being, pressured to get takeout all the time, or not go out on the weekends because you don't have a date. Because I think sometimes we penalize ourselves as a single person because we're waiting, or we figure we can't do something because we don't have someone else to be with us. And that's just a way to keep yourself bound, and you're not really going to meet people or be out and about to see someone if you're always kind of hidden, waiting for someone else to come knock on your door. So that is something I'm still working on, and I encourage you to do more of as well. Number 7 is dive into service. And I think that is a great one. That's something that's near and dear to my heart. Pick a mission or community service project. And this could be something simple. You don't necessarily have to pick like a big to-do. Sometimes as singles, we do pick like big projects to fill up our time. But give yourself to a needy cause, something that you feel passionate about, or something that you know that you may have been interested in this specific area. It could be kind of adventurous. I've always been interested in like Habitat for Humanity, building houses. It's not saying I'm like into construction, but I like the fact of somebody taking something, a vision of, a residence or a home for someone that may need it, and people pitching in to actually make that happen. And it happens in a relatively short period of time. So that to me is empowering, because you're helping people, but also you can see the fact that you don't have to have a long period of time for something in your life to manifest. It could be positive. So explore organizations in your community who need assistance. And also, it'll give you time to use your free time wisely. Sometimes we kind of get depressed about our dating life. But if you have some type of community service project, or you helping someone and see someone else in need and it's beneficial, that will help you with that depression. Clearly, I say that for myself sometimes. All right, number 8 is enhance your stewardship. So become more financially savvy. Budget more and save. I would say coupon and clean out the clutter in your home or apartment. This is something that I did when I moved from my house. Clearly, I had too much stuff, people, like too much. And, my thing was, if I were to meet someone, I wouldn't be able to move because I had stuff that I didn't even know I had. So become a better steward over your time and spend it wisely. I think sometimes we don't think about stewardship in the term of time, but time can be one of those things that you waste. Thinking about, your single life or what you don't have. But this is only a season. If you believe that you've been called to marriage, and it really doesn't matter how old you are, and I could be talking to someone that could be older than me. I mean, I've shared with you all I'm 37, and I'm thinking, yeah, to me that's a little bit longer than average. But in this day and age, people are doing things, totally different from what they've done before in years past. So enhancing your stewardship, this is the time to do that, because if you add additional people, and potentially family members that you haven't had before, you need to make sure that you're a steward over all of those things and you're able to handle all of those things as a single person before you add additional people into the picture. Number 9 I have is nurture something. So teach a class, mentor a student, tutor after school. I think this will help you if you don't have kids especially, but also if you don't necessarily have something that you have to nurture. And I think this is probably more relevant for people, and it could be for people that are in their 20s. I'm not going to say, more relevant. But I think especially relevant after you get past a certain point in your single, because I think stages in life, and I mean, this is technically more psychology than what you want to know about, but there are stages in life where you progress, where you feel like that you should be nurturing something. So, if you're past a certain age and you want to have kids and you haven't, there's a nurturing, element to your life that you need to exercise, get that energy out. So get a pet. I mean, get some goldfish. I don't know. My dog keeps me busy, really. It really does. But this will help you also hone your skills of caring for a potential family one day. And if you were to marry someone that has kids as well, or additional, stepchildren or family members that they may help out with. It could be their mom or their dad or whatever. You have nurtured something and you have that experience, because otherwise we can't say that we want marriage and only take one aspect of it, but not necessarily the other aspect of nurture and just being a better homemaker in general. All right, number 10, explore adventure. I like this because clearly I want to do this. I have do something risky like skydiving or kayaking. Now, I don't know about the kayaking. I mean, I need to learn how to swim. Learning how to swim will be a venture for me as well. That's on my list. But I do want to learn how to do skydiving. So what I'm going to look into, and I have looked into it, I just haven't purchased it, is the actual simulated skydiving. And I think that will be great because number 1, it's a lower investment, and skydiving is really expensive, really. But number 2, it will allow me to get acclimated to the adventurous side of skydiving, and if I want to invest in it. But hike up a mountain, learn how to swim, get acquainted with the adventurous side of life, because sometimes we kind of sit and we're waiting, but life is to be had while we're living it. Number 11 I have is work on your physical, spiritual, and mental health. So become the healthiest version of yourself as possible. Take aerobics or dance classes or weight training classes. Now, I've done all of this on a regular basis throughout my life, but I think this is the time, if you have extra time and you clearly don't know what to do with yourself sometimes. I mean, I do all of these things that I'm saying, and sometimes I'm still like, I'm bored. Exercise, okay? When you finally meet Mr. or Mrs. Future Right person, you'll be super cute and you will have lost weight. But also, it's like spiritually and mentally, if you need to see a doctor or a therapist, this is the time to do it. I'm not saying that something is wrong with you because you're still single, but to be honest with you, I mean, I'm being serious. Sometimes you need to see a therapist. So this is the time to become the best possible version of yourself. And don't be ashamed by it. I mean, at the end of the day, I would encourage anybody to become the healthiest version of him or herself before they look at uniting with someone else. Because if you know that you're wounded, or if you have issues from your past you have not dealt with, or there are areas that you have certain tendencies to act a certain way, I encourage therapy. I mean, I've actually been to a Christian therapist. I don't see anything wrong with it. And I think overall, I would say I learned a lot more about myself. But then I also learned that I was more secure, I think. And then some things were revealed to me in the spiritual aspect, that I became more secure in my role as a disciple, as a Christ follower. So there are different byproducts of therapy. They're not just some type of stigma that you have to have, a mental illness of sorts. All right, number 12, relax more. Now, this is something I have to do more of, clearly, and I'm working on it. But I think when you're single, you often wonder when your time will be up. So the longer you're single, too, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I've wasted so much time. But I think that for me, if I relax more and be more secure in who I am, and realize that if I believe this is something that's deep in my heart and that it's going to come to pass, whenever it happens, then I can take rest from the constant movement. I don't necessarily have to always think about being out there and doing something, which all of these things are great, clearly. But you don't always have to feel the time because there's an audience of one. I think that sometimes, what I may find myself doing or have done in the past, and I have to realize that it's quite okay that I don't have to be out there, to be seen or to be busy, to be fulfilled. I can be fulfilled just sitting in my apartment looking at television or doing a crossword puzzle. So I think all of these things are great. I'll be interested in finding out what you all think about them. As far as the Single Maven's bucket list, thank you for tuning in.